echoing if you're not clapping, you didn't like my joke. First I'm going to have us do the evaluations and the speeches, then I'm going to give my general evaluation of reading, and since we are running quite a bit late, I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible. So, our first evaluator is Carla Taberna. I have a great intro for this. It's not as short as possible, but I'm going to read it really fast. Carla says, my first time up at bat playing on our high school softball team, I had no prior experience other than wiffle ball in gym class, which has different rules. I was up to bat in softball, and after 3 good pitches, the umpire called, "You're out!" My response was, "But I didn't even swing." Turns out in wiffle ball, you may have to swing for it to count as a strike. Please welcome Carla.
Evaluating civil speech for interview. It was excellent. You had very good questions about what it takes to be a beekeeper. You asked about special clothing, enclosures, etc. And I felt like you were very effective. Your book asks how effectively you led the interview and if the questions were clear and logical. I do feel like choosing a champion speaker, the guest seemed to be leading the interview at times, but he even finished one of your sentences at one point. But your questions were clear, however, and in good sequence. And the guest's field of experience beekeeping, talking about introduction was a big part of this speech in your guide. And I think that you could have given a little more detailed intro of him and instead of letting him introduce himself. You did. Your gestures were good. They weren't too quick for the camera, but you did appear a little bit nervous. It's hard, though, as far as being seated. I feel like that can be a challenge to get more comfortable, get up here and make bigger gestures and look calm. However, one thing I noticed that you did, you interrupted yourself halfway through some of your questions to change and ask another question. So you maybe halfway through the question and stop and rephrase it. So you could watch out for that. You did relate to the camera and the studio audience well, so you maintained eye contact with Gary for the majority of the time, and then the appropriate eye contact with the audience and the camera. Your appearance was very professional, went along with the recommendations for apparel in the appendix that talked about not wearing big flashy jewelry or bright colors, so very streamlined and good for camera. And as far as if this were a real talk show, I think you would have been very effective. You showed genuine curiosity in the subject. You specifically asked me about filler words. You did use gonna, like, and you had a few and-ums. But all in all, it was very good, and I enjoyed listening to your interview.
Our second evaluator tonight is Mary Jo. She'll be evaluating. Mary Jo's first is that she just came back from Belize. She said it was her first time there, and she almost didn't want to come back.
I didn't want to come back.
She didn't want to come back. No almost about it.
Yes, thanks. I'm not doing the handshake. It's flu season. I don't shake hands during flu season, folks, so for the next month, elbows for me. I work with fragile older adults. Pete's speech, "What's Your Desire?" was a persuade with power speech, and his job was to present a persuasive speech that combines logical support for her viewpoint with strong emotional appeal. The speech should focus on the self-interest of the audience. And he did a good job with that, I thought. He related things back to us. Who doesn't have the problem of not doing the things they really want to do and doing work instead? So I thought the topic was well chosen, as most of us have to go to work and do civil engineering or more civil engineering, don't get to go surfing. I liked how Pete came up and he paused before he talked. And he really was able to get everyone's attention. I don't do that, so I noticed the things that I'm not good at that he did with ease. I thought his gestures were great. He talked about at work and he had the keyboard going. You could just feel it. Oh gosh, yeah, I know that feeling. I'm at work and I'm writing that report. Maybe almost dead at my desk, but it's good. And then he had the elephant, riding off on the elephant. The gestures were excellent in your speech. They were really quite good. I also liked how he used riding the elephant as the analogy of the desires that you have. And all you have to do is find the right desire, and the elephant will take off, and it'll be an easy thing for you to do. And that analogy really worked for me. A couple things I would have liked to see a little bit more of was a little bit more vocal variety. It seemed to be along the same level the whole time, so vocal variety would have added to that. It took me a little longer than I would have wanted to figure out exactly what you were trying to get us to do. So you could have defined that a little earlier. One thing I think you did really well, I forget exactly what it was, saying we should go off and do all that stuff when we want to, and I thought to myself, yeah, like we can do that when we're working. And then you said, oh, but there's a caveat. If you have to do it, do it. Because I thought you could have lost credibility, but I'm really happy you added that caveat, because then I thought, yeah, he's right. He put that caveat in there. It was a good speech. I always enjoy your speeches. I'm going to go out and play tennis more now. All right.
Our third evaluator tonight is Gary Penn, and Gary Penn's big first he just told you about, so there's not much I can add to that. Please welcome Gary.
Thank you, Mark. Speech manual, anybody? No, everybody likes it. But it's one up to be entertained by an entertainer, and that's what we got tonight. It was a pleasure to be able to evaluate and to witness JT's speech. It was fantastic as usual. Everybody loves when JT comes up here and entertains. What I appreciated about the speech was that it was structured, which is one of the things that the manual for Toastmasters asks of this project, is create a structure to the speech. And JT did that very effectively by having two distinct parts of the speech that tied together. I will note three things, JT, that I think you could improve in the speech overall, although admittedly this is one of the more difficult ones to evaluate of all the speeches that I've seen you give. First of all, I would have liked to see you put down the guitar when you first came up here. We want to hear from you, and your Toastmaster skills give you the ability to utilize body language and gestures and vocal variety to tell a story. And the guitar, I felt, blocked you a little bit. I think you might do that for time more than anything, because you got to go and get it on, get comfortable. But I think it would add, the 15 seconds would be worth it, because it would add some value. The second thing that I think you could do is animate the story a little bit, which would be the first part of your story. And that ties in to the first piece. You can't have a guitar on and be animated, but if you take it off, you have the ability to kind of set the scene and have a strong introduction and come out and say, in the 80s, I worked in a cube farm. Oh wait, some of you weren't even born in the 80s. So you can make a joke, you can set the scene, you can set the tone, and you can get people engaged in your story, and then they're with you thinking about, oh, this engineering firm and this cube farm. The last thing I think you could do is improve the tie-in between the two pieces. So the transition was good because you tied the two pieces of your career together. It all worked within Hughes. But I would have liked to see something like, I learned love at Hughes. You've just heard about that. I also learned what I did not love. And that was working long hours and sitting amongst employees who were just not enthused. Let me tell you a little song about that. So something like that where you transition a little bit better. Overall, the manual asks for simplicity, vividness, and twists. You provided all three. We could all follow a really simplistic chorus. It was awesome. You provided a vivid image, dead at his desk. And the twist was, I did not expect to be singing a song about a man dead at his desk. So bravo, super great speech. Thank you very much.
May I have a timer's report, please, on the evaluation?
Yeah, all 3 speech evaluators qualified.
Do not vote yet. We have more evaluators going to speak. Let's hear from our odd counters.
Well, I mean, I have help here, so I'll pass on the outcome.
Okay. Thank you. And our Marion.
Let's see, I wrote down some really good phrases, but in the essence of time, I'll just tell you my favorite ones that I'm going to start next to. Pat, are we going to indict them today? John L., the logical thing, we're going to call it tow truck. Pete used a really good metaphor. The elephant is your life desire. And then JT, that was very cute story, but it's part of your life, very sweet. And obviously that at your desk, you'll sing it louder, all the kids are gone. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a few things I do want to cover really quickly. Feel free to vote for your best evaluator. You can include the counter of the Marion and timer if you choose, and the envelope will be coming around. We did start the meeting on time. I think that something we need to worry about or concern ourselves with is the introductions, because they took so long, we're now running way late. And I seriously doubt that no matter how fast I think we can get out here with this. A couple of issues. The counter, when you're introducing, and it's for everybody, especially members, when you're introducing yourself, be sure to mention the PE and the charges for the filler words. We ask you to contribute 25 cents per filler word up to a maximum of $2. So if you see the tick marks on the paper by your name, please add them up and contribute. Like, money goes back to the club, use it for our general fund. Another thing, Mr. Toastmaster, when you have subs, please know it before you announce the wrong person. I know, they were last second, and we probably didn't even know about Andy, because I asked him to do that. This is something to do. And again, intros. When you submit an intro for the Toastmaster, like I said, try to make it not like Robert's stories, but just like 1 or 2 lines. And he's going to get me for this in a couple weeks. I know. The roast. It's coming. It's coming. Okay. When you are the speaker and you finish your speech, we are thanking you for giving the speech. You do not need to thank us for having finished your speech. It's okay. We're grateful that you're here and that you're speaking, especially when you're filling in at the last second, filling because somebody was sick and didn't let us know until a couple days ago. And that happens all the time. We're going to have a backup speaker slot at some point on the agendas. When that happens, feel free to sign up and make sure you have a speaker card. And there was one other thing I wanted to cover. I don't remember what it was. Oh yes, when you come up here and the Toastmaster, whoever has the podium, hands you the podium, take it with your hand or your elbow. When you leave the podium, shake the hand of the person you turned it over to. It's not just because we do this in Toastmasters, but this is a way of showing when you are at any public event that the person with the floor has changed hands. And it's a formal way to do it. It's very clear. When you shake hands with someone and if you have the floor, you leave the stage, or they come up and shake your hand, they take the stage, they have the floor. It keeps clear who's supposed to be speaking. And with that, I'm going to make it very clear I'm about to hand it back to Mr. Toastmaster.